Shalom Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, broadcasting simultaneously on Israeli News Live, live stream as well as Israeli News Live on YouTube. It looks like we finally got the camera set fairly accurate for our live stream audience. Also on Roku TV, you can join us in there as well. We are looking at two different breaking stories right now here, August 1st, 2018, guys. Live stream is speaking about the one of the blocking of the Straits of Hormuz. Israeli News Live on YouTube. You guys are getting the title of China in Fulfilling Biblical Prophecy. We're going to combine both these news broadcasts here together for you. So you see both sides of what's going on. But let me first go to what is happening at the Gulf of Hormuz, or the Straits of Hormuz there, near... let me pull the map up on that. I know I have that up as well. Right there with Iran across from Qatar. This is an issue that Israel has already threatened that if the Iranian government did this, they would join in a fight with NATO in order to put Iran down. Iran is just knowing that the threat of war against their nation is imminent. I mean, face it. Israel is definitely wanting a war with Iran. I have mixed feelings when it comes to Iran. Iran has definitely got a very evil government that is totalitarian. It is very communistic as well. Women are very much abused in this nation. But, you know, we can say that and be truthful and honest and not be hypocritical, because we also see some issues that are going on in Israel that are, you know, the same thing is happening in the West Bank and Gaza. Understanding, though, at the same time that the Palestinians are incited to violence against the Israelis. So it's really a mess altogether. Breaking the silence is being majorly harassed. These are Israeli soldiers. 800 Israeli soldiers have joined breaking the silence now about the things that are happening inside the West Bank and Gaza. President of this group there is being majorly harassed by the Israeli government because they don't want the world to know what's going on. And for us, it's a matter of being honest and fair. I mean, we must be honest. We can't just assume that everything is all hunky-dory, especially when we have a Jesuit-controlled prime minister right now that is in charge of the Israeli government. I have to say it just like it is, friends. I hate to say it that way, but you just have to say it the way it is. I know this for a fact because I was very close friends with two of the Mossad agents in Israel that had befriended me, and we spoke quite often, etc. And then I found out exactly what was going on. And of course, when I began to expose the Vatican's connections with Israel, wow, that all went down the drain, that relationship. One of the agents did stay close to me for a while, but I think that was only to make sure to see what kind of information I would be doing and to have a close insight. The other, though, went on a campaign to try to put all kind of lies about this channel. But I always say, though, it is on both sides because the Jesuits are influencing Abbas. Abbas is a very evil and wicked man. He is not for the Palestinian people. And there are many of these groups that are incited to violence against Israelis, which is totally wrong. They are fulfilling biblical prophecy by taking up their knives according to Esau's authority. And that just shows that Esau, the Roman Catholic Church, is involved. That doesn't mean that all Roman Catholics are involved, but the hierarchy of the Vatican is involved in directing the Palestinians to strike against the Israelis, and that we know for a fact because it is biblical prophecy in the book of Ezekiel chapter 35. Now we're going to be getting, this is a prophetic segment today. I am on edge. I'm excited because I see biblical prophecy. Going to go to that in a moment. Anyway, Amichai Stein from Israel has here, Iran has moved annual drill, swarm drill to block the Strait of Hormuz, according to U.S. officials who say the move following a fiery rhetoric from the U.S. and Iranian leaders. So their drill is what's causing it. It's not an official blockade, but their military drill they're using to incite this. Now, I haven't had a chance yet to go see if Russia is involved with the drills with Iran or if China is involved in these drills. I'm not really sure at this point here. but it is, I would say, at least in part, a partial blockade as a result of their war drills. Israel is looking, though, believe me, they are looking for a reason to strike Iran. It is part of the 7 nations that were to be taken down, and it was the last one to go. Pretty much all the rest have already been finished off or near being finished off. But now we're dealing with a brand new prophecy, prophecy I've spoke about before. We'd seen little elements here and there of China's possible involvement with Syria, but never any large scale or really outright statement to the Chinese involvement inside of Syria. Well, now we've come down to the last battle. And that battle is the battle for Idlib. All right, now let's jump back to the map real quick before I bring in Mamre's article here about this. We'll zoom out. Let's move over to Syria. Let's zoom back in so we can kind of get an idea of where we're speaking about. All right, now Idlib is just south here of Aleppo. As you can see here on your map, I just highlighted it up over here. Idlib is this province right here. They're bordering Turkey. That's where they get their arms from. It's from the Turkish government. Yes, Erdogan is certainly a thug for NATO. He does their bidding. I'm sure he probably hates my guts for the way I call him out. And if you've noticed, Russia has tried to broker the deal with Israel that Iranian forces, as long as they stay away from the border up to 85 kilometers or 53 miles, or in even some cases 100 kilometers from the border, which is about 70 miles from the border of Israel, that this would be okay. Now, the reason why Russia has brokered this type of a deal is because the Syrian government needs the Iranian forces to help battle against Idlib. It is a major stronghold, and without their forces, it becomes a big problem. I think, though, this involvement of Chinese forces is also to bring about, and it may be setting up biblical prophecy, because, as I pointed out yesterday, Russia is working with NATO. In the background, that was a slip-up, wasn't it? They never expected Al Jazeera was going to show the Wagner group involved working down there in the Central African Republic down there. That was a slip up. Wasn't supposed to be gotten out there as they were trying to show that these Russian journalists were killed trying to expose the Wagner group's operations. Well, NATO knows all about the operations because they work together. So that makes you wonder then about this whole war in the Middle East. Is this all a big stage and we're just the dummies that don't know what's really going on? Yeah, maybe so. You know, even biblical prophecy knows when they're all working together. But interestingly enough, though, we see here, according to Mamre, Chinese ambassador to Syria. We are willing to participate in some way in the battle for Idlib alongside the Assad army. This is definitely, let me blow this up for you guys. I want you to really be able to see here. They're willing to participate alongside the Assad army as the Syrian regime army prepares to launch a campaign for the recapture of Idlib in northern Syria. The Chinese ambassador to Damascus, Kui, I'm not sure if it's pronounced, Kui Quinyin, told the pro-regime Daily Al-Watan on August the 1st, 2018. That's today. This is breaking news. I don't know if it's made any other media as of yet that the Chinese military would be willing to participate in some manner in the campaign in Idlib or in other parts of the country. The ambassador expressed his support for what he called Syria's war against the terrorists. That's China now taking an official stance against NATO, or the U.S. coalition, I should say, the United States, against Israel, because Israel has been supportive of this. In fact, you know, that's one thing if you ever notice, the Israeli opposition, what do they call the guy that's supposed to be a Christian, that's really a Jesuit, that everybody thinks he's a good guy because he supposedly stands up against the Catholic Church, but he really doesn't stand up against the Catholic Church because he is Catholic, who is supposed to be Israeli, but actually lives in, because he works for the Rothschild banks in Switzerland. But yeah, you guys don't know that, do you? No. Yeah, he contacted me before he became extremely well known. So those of you that are out there listening that might be supporting the opposition there as well, yes, we know his number. We know everything about what you are never told about. You will see, though, that the videos when he does do his broadcast in Israel, suddenly he's outside all of a sudden. Then for months he's not outside. Don't worry, though. He's on the same time zone, or 1 hour off, I should say. Anyway, back to the news here. Anyway, other parts of the country, the ambassador expressed his support for what he called Syria's war against the terrorists and noted that there is cooperation between the Syrian and Chinese armies. The report also quoted the Chinese military attaché in Syria as saying that the Chinese military wishes to enhance its relations with the Syrian military and expressing regret that Chinese Uyghurs are taking part in the fight against the Assad regime. All right, so this is a major step, guys. Let's take a look at why it's a major step. Reminder for many of you, because you already know where we're going to go with this. We are looking at biblical prophecy right before your eyes. Daniel's prophecy. Remember, they mistranslate this. We're going to hit verse 44, then we're going to back up and see what's going on. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall affrighten him, and he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to take away many. So therefore, the tidings out of the east and out of the north, which is Russia to the north, China to the east, greatly trouble him. He goes forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to take away many. All right, this is the prophecy of Daniel 11:44. That takes Russia out of being the king of the north, because Russia and China are in a fulfillment of prophecy of Daniel 11:44. I thought a few months back perhaps it's North Korea and China and Russia standing with North Korea in solidarity. I thought before that it could be still Syria, because China had insinuated they would help Syria, but then they kind of backed off. We never saw their forces come in. Now we have the article right here on memory that China is coming in. The ambassador has announced it. Now we have a possible smoking gun. All right, but what happened before that? We have to back up just a little bit. Go to verse 41. He shall, let me just check real quick. No, verse 40. At the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him. Remember, that is not what it says in Hebrew. It doesn't say a push at him. It says, tinagach imo melech. Okay? So that's the king of the south. Here's the king. He is of the south. With him, he's pushing with. You cannot say push against him when it says imo, with him. The king of the south is pushing with him. With who? With the king of the... I'm sorry, the Hanagiv. The Hanagiv is the king of the south. I'm sorry, he's pushing with him the king of the south. My apology, my brain's not working very well today. V'sheter aliyav melech hatzifon. All right, and so now we're dealing with, and it says here, I got a glare on the screen when I turn around, guys, from my side window, so I'm not seeing the words as like I should, so I'm guessing at it. Let me look at my own screen here so I get it more accurate. All right, now I can, yes, here we go. And the king of the north shall come, see, Aliyav. Aliyav is literally, it means over him, okay? Aliyav Melech HaTzifon, see, the king of the north, he is coming over him, see, like a whirlwind with chariots. Who's he coming over? He's coming over Israel. Why? Something's happening in Syria. So Israel opens up their airspace, the C-140s, the big Hercules, whatever they have, they come over, and now the war is going to change altogether. With his chariots, with his horsemen, and these big old planes, they carry the men, they carry the Humvees, they can drop them out of the plane and right over the top, no problem at all. With many ships, he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow as he passes through. Remember, what is this? What is it? Jeremiah, there's trouble in the sea and it cannot be quietened. This is over the fall of Damascus, by the way. He shall enter also into the beauteous land, and many countries shall be overthrown. See, many countries. What did General Wesley Clark say? 7 nations. All right? But these shall be delivered out of his hand, Edom, Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. All right, mainly the country of Jordan. That's what's going to be spared. So, all the other ones, watch, because he says, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. Yeah, we overthrew that. So, you know who the army is for the king of the north? It's NATO, right? But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver and over all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. Exactly. What military caused the coup in Libya and overthrew it? You got it. Good old USA, right at the forefront, Benghazi, right? Yeah, you ever see the documentary on that? They don't tell you about the smuggling of the chemical weapons that they were taking and smuggling over there for then Prime Minister Erdogan to use against the Syrians, to have ISIS use it against the Syrian people and blame it on Assad, right? I can tell you from firsthand experience that, yeah, there's some pretty sinister things that the CIA does. You guys are going to have an interesting time in Orlando. I can promise you that. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. Yeah, the Vatican, they hosted their big old banksters and everything while all the people down in Ethiopia were crying as they were stomping out the locals and driving them off their farmlands and beating them and killing them if they didn't go. Yeah, good old Vatican right behind it all. Interesting. Oh, peace, sorry, peace, safety. Let's have peace and safety. We don't want any of these wars. And in the background, they pick up the telephone and said, have you started the campaign yet? Yeah, right. So now here are we. We're now down to verse 44. After all this stuff that's been going on and has been going on for some time, some years, the tidings out of the east and out of the north, actually the word there in Hebrew is more like a great anxiety, causes him anxiety, and he shall go forth with great fury. So if China really steps in there with Russia, and then we've already got the issue over here in the Straits of Hormuz, right? We could see an all-out battle really break loose. Pray for Israel. Pray for the Israeli people. Let me tell you why. You ever think about this whole issue that keeps going on? I mean, I think even tomorrow? Yesterday they had a gay parade day in Jerusalem again. You know, the Bible calls the great city of Jerusalem Sodom and Egypt. Wasn't it Lot that was kind of like the biblical prophecy of Revelation 18:4 where he says, come out of her, my people? Lot was coming out of her. He was a true sign of the coming out before the destruction. Do you think our Heavenly Father is pleased with the politicians of Israel that are condoning and turning the most holiest city on the planet into a putrefied homosexual party? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm sorry, did YouTube knock us offline yet? I have no idea from where I'm sitting. Anyway, it's a serious situation that's happening in the world, guys, right now. Very serious. Also, as you already know, NATO fears its forces are not ready to confront the Russian threat. Like I said, this is just all smoke and mirrors for us, is what's really going on. We also have this article right here, new threat to the U.S., the axis of autocracy. Russia and China had a vicious split in the 1960s. Now they are a budding bromance there. So there's a great fear of Russia and China, as it is. And yeah, there is a Silk Road coming. And you got to remember, even though there's working in behind the scenes, Putin no doubt working with the Wagner Group, and the Wagner Group may be the way that Russia's being able to get around the Russian people and the Russian military, really not knowing fully what's going on between Russia's president and that of the NATO. Or maybe there's somebody inside the government of Russia, and it's not Putin, that is actually working with NATO in behind the scenes. I can't fully blame it on Putin as of yet, because I don't know who's really the guilty party that is working behind the scenes. Because just like in America, we have a deep state that is still sending all of the troops and all the war machines over on Russia's doorsteps, while Trump is over there saying we could have a relationship, lift the sanctions and have a relationship. But as soon as he begins to bark one way and they don't like it, they jerk the chain. He goes, "Arr, arr, arr, arr." Okay, and he comes over here and barks another way. He's just a puppet as well, guys. Believe me, it doesn't matter which one we have in office, they are on the same leash as the next president, and they all have to bark accordingly. You know, it's the illusion that we're given that we are actually having a freedom of say in our country. You know, if we ever truly are going to do anything different, you need to get like it was with John F. Kennedy. Yeah, he was Catholic, but he wanted to take the CIA and break it into 1,000,000 pieces, and he was against the deep state. Everything that he was against is what they were trying to set up. But we don't see anybody in power like that, and I highly doubt we will. Right now, instead, what do we see besides the deep state at work getting ready to take Russia down? They got all their cheerleaders in the pulpits now as well. Yeah, take out Russia. Russia's a bad guy. Got to kill Russia, the communist atheists that they are. Russians are not atheists. I may not agree particularly with their particular denomination, but if they stand for Christ, I can stand with them on that. You know? But no, not only are those same cheerleaders cheering on for the deep state, and think about it, that's exactly what's happening. These high-dollar evangelical, Baptist, Pentecostals, whatever they may be, all cheering for them. Not all of them. When I say, there are some that really are trying to stand for truth. I realize that, but it's so few. What few there are. And even if they're non-denomination, do you know they're under, especially if they're 501c, they're under the umbrella of a denomination that's supporting the Vatican. So when you go to a church that says they're non-denomination, maybe I should hold this for Patreon because I'm going to get into an area that's not going to make a lot of people happy. It's serious, guys. It's very serious. You know, we're going to be speaking across this nation in meetings there. And I got to get up with Brother Mark and his wife Susan there about the meeting in up in Tennessee next month, because I know many of you guys are wanting to come to that. We got to get that going. I have just been swamped with things that I have to take care of, so I've just not had the opportunity to really get back with them. Brother Mark, Sister Susan, if you're watching, forgive me. Email me again, text me on my phone. My phone is working now, by the way. I was having problems getting incoming information there, so we need to get that going, because we're sharing things that I will not share publicly until I have gotten enough people privately that know these things. And then you will begin to know here as well, because when I begin to share these things, they are extremely sensitive, but you will also know why I really do know things. I don't just say it to say it. It's not just a matter of looking it up online. I lived this life before. So I know a lot of what I'm talking about, and I want to share with you. And I know everything from the things like what the Clintons have been allegedly involved in. And I have to keep using the right type of wording there because they look for you to mess up. As well as the relationship between the Vatican and the Assad, is the evangelicals, their relationship between the Vatican, the Jesuits. It's unbelievable how crooked and how evil so many of these places are. Again, not saying there's not good people out there, but most of it is not. I want to take the time before we close here. I want to thank the moderators on YouTube. I normally never get a chance to look at the live chat there. I've learned that if I look at it, it does me no good, because then I get distracted. We are probably in the near future, even though we'll remain live, I'm going to have to probably stop live chat because I'm going to get into these things publicly that I cannot risk the enemy coming in to cause havoc. That's going to happen. I can assure you. And I'm sure they will bug the room that we're speaking in. I don't doubt that a bit in the world. I'd like to give them a little bit of havoc too and tell them that we may move from one room to another. That way you go bug everything. I want to make them work a little harder. But anyway, Look forward to seeing you guys this coming weekend in Orlando, August the 4th. If you don't know where the meeting is at, go to IsraeliNewsLive.org. Let me just pull that out for you real quick now, so that you guys can see this on your screen there, or IsraeliNewsLive.co.il. Still, it takes you right to IsraeliNewsLive.org because we're registered in Israel as well as in the U.S. Bet they don't know that in Israel. They probably freak them all out. The Orlando Conference, August the 4th, 2018. We still have seats available. All right, not many, but I still have seats available. So if you'd like to be a part of that, send me an email, stevenbennoun@gmail.com. That's StevenBennun@gmail.com. The details are right here on our website. So if you've already registered yet you still don't know, oh gosh, brother, where in the world is this at? You can click on the link there. It tells you the address is 225 Shorecrest Drive, Ultimate Springs, Florida, 32701. Hotel may have still may have rooms available if you need to get a room there if you're coming from out of town. The hotel's phone number and fax number is listed on here. It's the Embassy Suites by Hilton Orlando North. It's the only place I could find where I could seat up to 200 people. And I have not updated the details here. We put it on here limited to 100, but we're well over 100. I think we're about 160 people already. But anyway, that is where the information is on our website. Anyway, thank you for your support of this ministry. Without your support, we cannot do the things that we're doing, and there is still yet much more to do. I will say one other thing. I've not done this as of yet, but I have to go to Washington, D.C. But I have to go Sunday, the very day after this conference. I have to fly out. I am thinking about possibly, if the hotel where I will be staying at, I'll be there only one night and then I come back to Orlando. But I was thinking about trying to have a little miniature conference in Washington, D.C. If you live in that area, email me, StevenBennoun@gmail.com. If I get the response and we can rent a room, we'll rent a room and speak together there. If you do not, I don't see the response, I won't do that there. It happened at a time that I was not anticipating. So that's why I didn't have any advance notice about this here. So I've not booked a conference room or anything there because I don't know if people would be able to go or if people actually live in that area. So anyway, next two places, though, is Nashville, Tennessee, middle of the month, next month. I think it's the 14th and 15th or 15th and 16th. I forget which one it is. We'll be getting that up on our website very soon. And also in Oregon, the 18th through the 20th of 2019, January 2019. Be speaking over there. We'll be getting that information up as soon as we can. And Ellie Marzulli, my wife and myself, will be speaking at that conference there. It'll be hosted by Bonnie Harvey, that is in Oregon as well. Anyway, Shalom and Erev Tov in a world of Ein Shalom. I'm Steven Bennoun with Israeli News Live.